Alright, so today we're taking a look at another 360 car review. This is a Tesla Model 3. It's a 2022. So first thing to note is that the key is a card. This is offered by Tesla by default, a card. This card you have to tap on the left side pillar, the driver's side pillar, to unlock or lock the car. If you're in the car, of course, you can unlock and lock it from here. To start driving, if you've just unlocked it with the card key and you've gotten in, you can start driving immediately. However, if it's been a little bit since you've gotten in, you will need to tap the car or press the card over here, right behind the cup holder, and that will allow the car to start driving again. So this is kind of a pain in the butt. You have to keep it on you. And one other thing to note is that because the only part of the car that recognizes this card key from outside is the driver's side, if you have bags in the trunk, if you have bags in the front trunk, or even if you have a bag in the passenger seat, once you retrieve that bag, you have to walk back around to the driver's side to lock the car. So there is a workaround for that, but Hertz would need to make a little bit of an investment. There is an option for a key fob for these Tesla units. The key fob would work similarly to other normal car key fobs, where you can double click a button and that'll let you unlock and lock the car from far away. There is no Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. So for some folks that might be a detractor, but the Tesla user interface and navigation is really good. So you can confidently rely on that and use that for navigation. So right now I've got to go and return this car back to the rental facility. So let's go ahead and put in our destination. Navigate to Hertz Newark Airport. And you can see that it's quite fast. It recognizes the command very well as well. This is one of the best vehicles from a voice recognition perspective that I've found. Alright, so 19 minutes, we've got our destination. If you want to see the step-by-step, some more details, you can check that as well. A lot of questions that folks will have is, what about charging? You can see that right now I'm at 83%. I'm going to tap here, and that's about 221 miles of range or so. If I do need to find a charger, or if I do not have enough range, the car will automatically find superchargers along the route. But if you want to manually charge up, you can do that as well. Click on this, and now it'll show you every single Tesla supercharger that's on the route. It will show you destination chargers as well, which you can charge a car at, but it'll be much slower. So I would recommend typically charging at a supercharging station. You can see that these superchargers are marked in red. There is also a differentiator between the superchargers. You've got the 150 kilowatt max, and then you got the 250 kilowatt max. The 250 will allow you to charge the car much faster. You can see that each of these locations also have a little number next to it. That will indicate how many stalls at that charging facility are currently open. So if I go ahead and let's pretend that, this one, number 9 in Union, that looks to be the closest on the route. So if I click on that, it's going to give you more details. It's going to give you the cost. It's going to tell you the total number of stalls. That's 12 stalls. And it'll say currently there are 9 available. So there's a very good chance that when you get there, you can just pull right in and start charging. It also shows you what amenities are there: restroom, restaurant, coffee, some sort of shopping, and Wi-Fi as well. So they are starting to offer Wi-Fi at the supercharging stations. So easy to do. You can also filter the charging station. So if we want to look at only super high-speed charging ones, so the supercharging stations, you just tap the 3 lightning bolts, and now you've got the Tesla superchargers. So you can see that with the 2 lightning bolts, these are still superchargers, but they may be of an older variety. So these are only going up to 72 kilowatt max. And then we've got these grayed out ones, which are destination chargers. And you can see that these are 13, 14, some are unlisted, some are 8. So these will probably get you about 30 miles per hour maximum, which is not ideal. With the superchargers, you should be able to charge up your whole battery within 30 minutes to an hour. So big difference. All right, let's get started. The car will hold by itself. This is what gear it's in. I'm in drive, waiting for this guy to pull out of the way. I'm gonna hit the turn signal, left turn signal. These guys are... So you can see that when you turn on the turning signal, it will show you, it'll give you a view of the side camera, depending on which way you're turning.
In 500 feet,
this allows you to see, it gives you another viewing angle of your potential blind spot. That camera can be moved, so you can move it down here, you can move it up there. The ideal location is probably on the left side, either at the top or bottom of the screen, whichever one's easier for you to see. I do have my phone connected to the car, so Bluetooth music will work. This way you have your navigation and your entertainment, so you're covered on both aspects.
Now turn left to stay on Moon Circle.
One other cool thing with the newer Teslas is that you can set it
Prospect Avenue,
so that the turning stock will automatically disengage, or the blinkers will automatically disengage after it detects that you've made the lane change. So to do that, if it's not on by default, if you go into lights, you see auto turn signals, you can do auto cancel. This doesn't seem to be available on the older Teslas. I'm not sure if they're waiting on a firmware update. It doesn't seem like it should be a hardware limitation, because even on the older Teslas, it can navigate on autopilot. It can change lanes for you, so it should understand when you've made a lane change manually, and be able to turn off the turn signal. So you may have heard a little chime there. You can also set it so that the car, if you're within the first view, if it can see the traffic light, it can determine if it's a red light or green light. So if you're sitting at the red light and it turns green, it'll play a little chime so that you're aware that the light has changed. So you can see that when you're driving with a Tesla, it gives you a visual representation of what the car cameras are seeing. And that's a nice feature. It gives you confidence in the car's ability to kind of drive itself a little bit. Now, all of the Hertz rental Teslas that I've been in, they don't have the premium feature, or they don't have full self-driving. They don't even have enhanced autopilot. But even without that, the Teslas are a great pick for business travel, especially if you're going on a longer drive. The reasoning behind that is that, I'll show you in just a second, you still have some pretty advanced driving functionality where the car will keep itself in the lane at the correct speed, and it does have traffic-aware cruise control as well, so that if you're in stop-and-go traffic, it's going to slow down. It can even come to a complete stop and then resume again. A lot of the other car manufacturers, they may have traffic-aware cruise control, but it may be limited for certain speeds, or in stop-and-go traffic, if it stops, it's going to require you to press on the gas or the accelerator pedal again to resume that traffic-aware cruise control. Whereas with the Tesla Unit 1, it works very, very well. Right now, somebody turned on the rainbow mode so that when you have this auto driving functionality turned on, the road turns rainbow. If you don't have that feature turned on, you'll see 2 blue lines that show you which lane you're in and which lane and it's keeping you in. And you can also see as cars are driving by, it'll indicate, it recognizes if it's a truck, if it's a semi-trailer, if it's a tractor-trailer. It'll recognize if it's a regular car, sedan versus SUV. Things that aren't super critical to know for us, but it's a nice touch. And I'm not sure if this is still a function that is enabled or used, but I've seen in the past with Tesla vehicles, if it's passing a truck, it's going to move the car over a little bit away from the truck. It'll still stay in the lane, but it'll move it away from the truck a little bit so that you feel a little bit safer. So you can see right now we're behind this food truck and the car has automatically slowed down to 41 miles per hour. You can increase or decrease the follow distance with the vehicle in front of you with the right button, and you just pull to the right or pull to the left. So you can see right here, now we can edge up closer. So 2 is the closest, and 7 is the furthest away. So because this is basic lane keeping and traffic aware cruise control, I'm going to be stuck behind this car unless I change by myself. So we've got 0.7 miles. We'll go ahead and do that. You can see that when I press on the brake, it disengaged all the driving, the car's self-driving functionality. So I'll turn on the blink turning signal, and you'll see that the camera turns on. As I move over, once I get into the lane, I complete my turn. You can see that the turn signal turns off by itself. So it's a nice feature. And you saw there that when I turned on the turn signal and it detected that truck was in my blind spot, it lit it up in red as well. So there's multiple ways where it's showing you that it might not be safe to change lanes. For the turn signal, you can simply tap on it, or you can press it all the way. You'll feel the difference as well. But when you have auto turn signal on, you can do either one. It'll work because the car turns off the turn signal for you. Heated steering is standard, as well as heated seats.
Now take exit 12 on the right.
So if you're not comfortable using the touchscreen, a lot of the functionality controls of the car can be activated with voice control as well. So this is the heated steering icon. Right now it's on. You can tap it to turn it off, tap it to turn it back on. I should be able to turn it off as well. Let's give it a try. I've never tested this before. My hands are hot. So I don't think it recognized that command, surprisingly. Turn off heated steering wheel. And there you go, it turned it off by itself. I would have expected it to turn it off with my hands are hot as well, but I guess not. They'll probably work on that in the future. But for example, if you feel like the entire car is too warm or too cold, you can say, I'm feeling a little bit hot. We may have hit a patch where you can see, so it changed it from 71 to 68. Set the temperature to 75 degrees. And you can see it changed it to 75 degrees immediately. So a lot of the functionality, voice control, works really, really well with this car. Set the temperature to 70 degrees. Increase navigation volume. So that probably increased it, maybe not. But it definitely does work for controlling the audio. And also if you want to control your music and navigation, it does control that separately. When the navigation when GPS is talking to you, when you scroll up and down on the left wheel, that will change the volume for the navigation. If you're just playing music, in this case I have the music paused, it will increase or decrease the volume of the music. Alright, so as far as the sun visor on the Model 3, it works quite well. It's actually magnetic now, which is really cool. Less moving parts, less things to fail. If it's clicking in, like a lot of the older sun visors are, that clicking mechanism can loosen up over time, whereas this magnet should always work. So you've got a vanity light as well, vanity mirror. And you can see that this does extend, so it covers a very good amount of coverage. It covers the entire mirror, the entire window. All of the rear view mirrors are auto dimming as well at night. If you need that, it is something that you can turn on or off. The display brightness can also be adjusted. Right now it's set to auto. When it gets darker at night, it changes to dark mode as well, but these are all features that you can toggle manually if you want.
In 1 mile, take the Interstate 78 East exit on the right toward New Jersey Turnpike, Newark.
Change display to dark mode. Okay, so that doesn't work. And you can see as we're driving, this shows you our destination. It tells you we've got about 8 minutes left, 7.1 miles, and when we get there, our battery capacity will be at 79%. We are currently at 81%. If you want to decrease or increase the speed that the car is driving itself at, typically, I have it set right now so that when you engage the auto driving functionality, it's going to set itself to the speed limits of the road that you're on. So 55 max is what the car will drive. The car, it'll increase the speed to, depending on the traffic, of course.
Now take the Interstate 78 East exit on the right.
And then from a storage perspective, there's plenty of storage. It's well laid out. It's really well thought out. So for example, you can place 2 phones in that little cubby, that little angled area. Your phone doesn't really move. It's nice and soft, so you're not going to be scratching up your phone. And even better, these are wireless chargers. So you pop your phone on there and you're charging your phone. From an additional storage perspective, we've got a big cubby in here where you can drop quite a bit in. So here's a water bottle. You can see that it doesn't fit just standing straight up, but if you angle it, it's gone. We've got a second cubby right here, which is also quite large, and both of these have lighting as well, so it's easy to see. Actually, I'm not sure if the back one does, but the front one definitely does. And so for this cubby, you can see you can slip some additional bottles in there as well. We click in on the windshield, the left stock. There's a button at the end, and the wiper fluid actually comes out of nozzles that are built into the windshield wiper itself. So I think this decreases the amount of fluid that's needed because it's not overspraying. In a lot of cars, especially if you're driving on the highway and you turn on the nozzle, the wind speed will also blow the wiper fluid a little bit off your car and onto the person behind you. So overspraying, or you're not using the liquid fully on your car. Some additional functionality: if you want to keep an eye on what's behind you, what's around you, you can turn on the camera. Right now it's just rear view. You can always keep this on if you want. If I swipe up, now I've got the side view as well. If I recall, if you have the side view on, if you have it in this mode and you turn on the turn signal, it's not going to give you another, it's not going to pop it up over here. Now, when you have the car driving itself, you do need to pay attention and you do need to keep your hands on the wheel. So I'm going to be hands off for a little bit, and within probably 10 to 15 seconds, the car is going to ask you to put your hands back on the wheel. It's not as simple as just putting your hands back on the wheel. It does need to feel a little bit of pressure or torque. So once it activates, I'll show you what that looks like. But essentially,
In 1 mile, take exit
you need to put your hands on the
57
wheel
on the right
and
towards New Jersey
wiggle a little
21
bit
north.
for it to recognize that your hand is back on the wheel. Alright, so you can see that it wants you to apply slight turning pressure. That starts blinking so that you're notified that you need to put your hands back on. If you don't, it's going to start blinking more rapidly, and then eventually it'll play an audible sound as well to remind you there's a sound. And if you don't, if you keep doing it, if you keep, keeping your hands off the wheel, it will disengage the self-driving functionality. If you do it too often, I think if it's like 3 strikes where it gets all the way to the end of it warning you to put your hands back on, then it may turn it off for the rest of the trip. So play it safe. It's a driver assist tool. It's not there yet where it'll do all the driving for you,
Now take
but it
exit
does make
57
driving
on the right.
and going long distances much easier.
In 1,000 feet, keep left toward main terminals.
And from a working perspective, if you need to pull over, take a work call, these electric cars, the Teslas, are second to none, because you can keep the air conditioning running, you can keep the heat running, so you're nice and comfortable, but you're not burning gas, you're not just idling the engine. So it's a much nicer experience from a working perspective, and the seats go back pretty far. The wheel goes in quite a bit, so you've got plenty of space to be able to pull out a laptop and work. So for the folks that are picking people up at Newark Airport, there is a really convenient cell phone lot, which is less than 5 minutes away from any of the terminals. So I highly recommend parking there instead of parking on the side of the road where it's dangerous and you're causing traffic.
Now keep left at the fork. In 1,000 feet, bear left.
And Newark Airport is undergoing a lot of construction right now. Terminal A is brand new now, so some of the navigation data may not be up to date. And typically when you get to an airport, you should follow the airport signs anyways. It's more accurate. So I'm not saying this is going to be incorrect, but it could be. So I'm going to follow the signs at the airport. Rental car returns, keep right.
Now bear left onto Tower Road.
So would I recommend a Tesla for business rentals? Absolutely, every single time. Just the safety driver assist functionality is worth it alone.
In 500 feet,
The
take the ramp on
only
left towards
the
Marietta.
major drawbacks I would say are the entry system right now, which can be resolved if Hertz were to just invest, you know, $200 to $300 for the key fob. And then of course, charging sometimes is a little bit of a pain, depending on where you're located, where your rental location is located. You may have more of a difficult time finding superchargers. But if you're in a metropolitan area, the electric vehicle infrastructure is being built out, so that's going to become less and less of a problem. And I believe a lot of the newer hotels are also starting to install electric vehicle chargers, which makes a lot of sense. So hopefully once that becomes prevalent, really there should not be any drawback to renting an electric car. Once you get to your hotel at the end of each night, you can plug your car in and you never even have to go back to a gas station. So that could potentially even save you time in the future.
Now turn right onto Brewster Road.
Where once you get to the airport, either you pay the car rental company or you have to find a gas station near the airport. With Tesla and with Hertz at least, they ask that you bring the car back at least 70% capacity. So right now once I get there, I'm at 79, so I've got plenty of battery left. You have the option to pay, I think it's like $35. And even then, they want you to bring the car back at above 10%.
In 500 feet, turn right onto Lindbergh Road. Now turn right onto Lindbergh Road. In 500 feet, your destination will be on the right. Now your destination is on the right.
All right, if you have any questions, comments, please leave them below and I will do my best to address them. Thanks for coming along on this drive with me and experiencing what it's like to drive a rental Tesla for work, for business. Now we'll take a look at the operation of the key card. So we have the tap on the B pillar, and that's how you lock and unlock the car. So when it's locked, the side view mirror should fold. And just showing you that tapping it on the right hand side of the car, the passenger side, does not do anything. There's no sensor there. Thanks and have a great one.